Voters across the United States of America are deciding which party will control the Congress in January. More than 40 million Americans cast their ballots in early voting across the 50 states, with control of the House of Representatives and the Senate up for grabs. Now, the midterm elections are seen as a referendum on the party in power. Let's now speak to Kate Fisher, who is in Washington. Kate, thank you so much for your time. Let's talk about the importance of this election, as well as, looking at the future in the context of the future of Joe Biden.
Yeah, it's a hugely important election for President Joe Biden. As you said, it's often seen, these midterm elections, as a referendum on what the American people think of the job that he's doing. And if they decide they don't like it and his party, the Democrats, lose seats in the House of Representatives and the Senate, then he will no longer Democrats will no longer be in charge of Congress, which means that anything that Joe Biden wants to achieve in the second half of his presidency, the last 2 years of his presidential term, is going to be so much harder, because he's not going to have the support in the legislature. They're not going to, they've said they're not going to pass the laws he wants. They're not going to approve the ambassadors or judges that he tries to appoint. He's going to really struggle to push through any more of his agenda if the Democrats lose control of the Senate and the House of Representatives. It's widely thought that they are likely to lose control of the lower house, the House of Representatives. The Senate, however, is really at a dead heat at the moment. It is so close. It's really hard to know which way it's going to go, which is why this election is being watched so closely.
And a lot, of people saying that it appears, as you say, that Senate, the control for Senate is such a tight race and it could go either way. But there's another interesting development. Former President Donald Trump saying that he's making an announcement on the 15th. Do you have a sense of what we can expect from him?
Yeah, he made that statement last night in a rally in Ohio. He was there to campaign for the Republican candidate for Senate there, J.D. Vance. That's another tight Senate race between the Democrats and the Republicans. And on stage, he said, "I am going to make a very important announcement next week." He said he wasn't allowed to make it before the vote today. Senior Republicans have made it very clear to him and to everybody else that if Donald Trump is deciding to stand again, they don't want him to do it before today's elections, because they're concerned that the Republicans are concerned that it might mean more Democrats come out to vote, the people that really don't want Donald Trump back on the scene. However, he's just left that little kind of suggestion of what is to come. He hasn't officially said he's going to run, but certainly all the suggestions are that that announcement will be the one that everyone has been waiting for, that he is expected to announce. He's dropped lots of hints over the past few weeks about how he wants to do this. So we are expecting him to announce just next week that he will be standing for president once again in 2024, which essentially means we've got elections today, but we're going to start talking about the next elections in 2 years' time, almost as soon as these elections have finished.
And it's going to be an interesting one just to hear from him. But Kate, I wonder if you've been able to get an update on what's happening on the ground. We're seeing other news sites reporting that in some states, for example, like North Carolina, there may have been, voters reporting incidents of intimidation. But in other areas, things appear to be running smoothly. What are you hearing on the ground?
Yeah, that is a big concern in this election cycle, this voter intimidation. For the first time, we've even got many candidates on the ballot paper who have denied the legality of the presidential election. They say that Joe Biden stole the election. They agree with Donald Trump's false allegations of electoral fraud, and they're actually standing as candidates in elections. And so there's already a very tense atmosphere around some of these polling stations. The Department of Justice has said that it is deploying election people to go and monitor things at election sites across 24 different states, going to more centres. It does this every election, but it's sending out more people to more places this year, and it has urged anyone who feels that they are being intimidated or sees anything or hears anything to report it to local law enforcement. And certainly in those key swing districts, there is a real concern about voter intimidation.
All right, thank you so much, Kate. Do appreciate that update. That's Kate Fisher, SABC News correspondent, coming to us live from